let's talk about Canada, U.S. before I close. Canada has the faith tone is very pluralistic. There are issues with that. America has their own tone. What do you think either nation can learn from the other as it relates to sharing the gospel and faith?
I'm glad you minimized it to sharing the gospel and faith.
Yeah.
I think we can learn a lot about healthcare and a whole lot of things from Canada. But as it relates to sharing the gospel, I think that America is the media capital of the world as it relates to your CNNs and your powerful means of communicating through television. Consequently, the offspring of that technology and that long history that we've had of film development, so forth and so on, has been a plus for sharing the gospel. I think Canada benefits by duplicating some of those processes. Ironically, I think America could just learn from Canada how to manifest that gospel in terms of how you treat people. We put it out better, but we actually don't practice it as well. And in regard to brotherhood, in regard to a more friendly, calm, welcoming position, somehow our faith gets mixed with fear. And we get over the pulpit and scare people into being afraid of each other in a way that I don't see being so prevalent in Canada. And I would hope that the time would come that there would not be walls between us. I would rather draw circles than to have lines.
I have 1 minute left. I have to ask this. It's been on my heart. You speak through us through MegaFest, through Sunday morning, through us through conferences like the International Pastors and Leaders Conference we spoke about. In your prayer closet, with the backdrop of travel bans, bombs, we just had a terrorist attack in Canada not long ago. What is God saying to the world among the noise that is being radiated through media broadcasts, newspapers? What do you feel God needs the world to stop and understand amongst this time?
You know, we are racing toward judgment. And it is very interesting to be my age because the things that we preached about or we heard preached when I was a little boy are happening all around us today. And watching my Bible come to life in my newspaper is absolutely startling. I think that this is a moment that we are racing toward where if you are really a Christian, you may be called upon to exhibit that Christianity beyond doing good deeds, that we may actually be persecuted. That we may have to face the reality that Christianity is less popular than it's ever been before. And I see the early tremors of some very disturbing trends where we are ready to get rid of any group of people we don't like. And so people are saying hurrah, hurrah, hurrah when it's somebody else. But often the gallows that you build for someone else end up with the noose around your neck. And when we get in this position where I don't agree with you and I'm afraid because there are bad elements in the midst of you, so we're going to put all of you out, that sets the backdrop for things that we have not seen in the world in a long time that may come back to haunt Christians and other groups of people. Suppose we cease to be the majority. What then? Suppose we become the threat. The Bible is true when it says, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. We have to be careful as we make decisions, as important as they are. And I have no naivety about protecting our country and yours and the countries around the world. We must be committed and diligent and do every kind of investigative tool that we have available today to make sure that our streets are safe. But when we just categorize people and toss them to the side for fear that 1 out of 1,000 might seek to do us harm, that kind of reflection, that type of ideology not only breeds terrorism, but it also smells of things that we have seen in history, like the Holocaust, like slavery, like things like that, where we take masses of people and penalize them because of how they look or what they might be thinking. It also finally creates, I'll say this and stop, it finally creates an opportunity. Because if you tell me terrorists are blue, and then you create an opportunity for them to use someone green. And we never saw it because we were looking for blue. Okay?
Yes, sir.
When you look back down through the recent years of Americans' interaction with terrorism, you cannot stereotype. Whether here in Dallas there was a shooting of police officers were done by a black man. Whether it's somebody who the terrorist was from Afghanistan or Iraq or someplace like that, then you go someplace else and it's a young white man going into a black church saying, you know, I'm going to kill black people. Are we sure we can describe what a terrorist looks like? That's the problem with an ideology. It moves like a disease, a bacteria, a virus from person to person to person. We ought not to be so focused on who we last saw it in, but we ought to get down to the fungus itself and drive the ideology out of the hearts of all men. And part of that requires that we create a world that has equal opportunities so that oppressed people don't get so frustrated that they feel like the only way they can be heard is to drive a dump truck into a crowded street and blow up and kill and shoot and maim innocent citizens regardless of their country.